All right.
Okay.
So what do we have today? We have what I predicted, and I think I actually misspoke last week when I said that part two of the Twitch leak, which is what it was implying as the first file name was something something part one. I guess I misread or misremembered that part two will have passwords. Instead, this researcher, the security researcher, had figured out that there was data sets inside of the leak, um, containing emails, passwords, and a lot more of users and content creators, and um, I'm pretty sure like last four digits of credit cards, just a lot of bad stuff in the original leak. So it's kind of funny because we always come back to new developing stories, and this one just feels extra bad because we have a prediction in place for Twitch. I believe Twitch is going to die by the end of the year. In hindsight, it is only 2 months away, so end of
Mm.
year feels very close. But I will hold true to that and say that I think a couple more major players on the Twitch
Oh,
platform
wait.
leaving
Okay, yeah, go on, go on. Sorry.
will cause Twitch to fail by the end of the
Uh,
year. I won't say that
uh-huh.
they're going to shutter doors by 2022 or early 2022. I will say that it's going to be a dead site by early 2022.
Which
I
I
mean,
agree with, but
there's
I have a slightly longer timeline. I'm not saying by the end of this year, but I'm saying within a year from now, for
Within a
sure.
year.
you're saying that's the end of Twitch. Like this is the
I mean, they're
nail
not
in the
going to
coffin.
sell the domain, I imagine, but
No,
they
no,
will drop
I,
from relevance, certainly. Amazon may try to sell them.
Well, you saw what happened with Facebook's Mixer. Is that what it's called? Not
Mixer, yeah.
Facebook. Sorry, Microsoft's Twitch competitor. What
Mhm.
was it? It was Mixer. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
Mixer.
sure.
yeah, so you don't even know the name. Like
That's how irrelevant they are now.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, they sold to Facebook, and that was the end of that. They got absorbed. So I think
And
that's exactly what's going to happen.
I disagree. I staunchly disagree. I think that what's going to happen is that because there's no alternative, I think there is no decent popular alternative, and YouTube Live or whatever it's called
Yeah.
is not for the cool kids, and so that's it. I don't see any
Okay.
other place for the cool kids to go.
We talked
Guess we'll
about
have
that
to
pretty
see.
extensively last week. Are we going to relitigate the whole thing now? Do we want to go on the record with any new predictions?
Okay. Nope. For our new viewers,
For our
There you are.
many new
last week.
viewers.
This story, though, specifically, I guess I had two thoughts. One is it only seems kind of incrementally worse than what we talked about last week. And I don't really feel like it adds new information. Why do you always react like that? What, Peter?
Downplay the significance of these things. Like, look at the headline of this story. Go on, bring it up again, please.
Yeah, no, but we knew that was the case. The first thing everybody did last week was change their passwords. Who's surprised by this?
No, wait.
Like the Twitch is the leak
Twitch
is terrible.
Twitch announced that no passwords or emails or payment information.
But we knew that was bullshit even then.
But the fact that a company is coming out with an official statement and saying this is a big deal. And then they turn around. The researcher has not given us too much detail on where to find this, but I imagine with enough digging and enough time, people are going to find this. And it's just, hopefully, I'm hoping that Troy Hunt and his team, that they're on this, because, and I imagine that they are. But
well, the impression I get from Troy is that is largely passive. People just send him stuff, so he doesn't really have a team necessarily. But someone will send it to him eventually. I think. Yeah. But depends whether 4chan get their hands on it before him or not. Really,
right.
The impact. The point is that
this 4chan?
Yeah. The point is that the passwords are included in the leak, and I mean, Mike is saying, "Oh yeah, but we knew this. We knew it was terrible already. We didn't know that. That's the point."
All of Twitch leaked last week. How much more comprehensive could that be? Like, yes, we're continuing to find out just how bad it is. There could be family pics of the founders in there. I wouldn't be surprised by it. Like, who knows what's in there?
The difference is that it directly affects the people who are using Twitch.
Yeah.
So before it was like, well, hey, some source code's leaked. I mean, when the Windows source code leaked, I don't give a
I
shit.
think
Like,
that's
it was-
incredibly naive to think, oh, it's just the source code.
No,
I agree.
it's terrible for Twitch.
I agree.
It's terrible
But
for
I
Twitch.
think what Peter is saying, this is now multitudes worse.
Yes.
We are now looking at one of the worst source codes leaks of all time. And if not
Data
the worst, like this is insane how detailed and nicely delivered this was. And
Yeah.
then couple that with actual clear text passwords and emails, it's game over. Twitch, I'm telling you, they are not going to last. They are not going to live.
I totally agree with
Live
you.
through
I guess
this.
I'm just saying I assumed last week that all this would have been included anyway.
Oh, well, it's not that big a deal, according to Mike. So,
Not that it's not that big a
Okay.
deal. I just don't think it's new. There's nothing surprising. Last week it was shocking. This week it's just, yeah, obviously.
well, we'll see. Oh, right. And then another thing that we should bring up, and I don't remember. Okay, so obviously the day of and the days after, the immediate days after the Twitch leak, I talked about this everywhere, all the time, to everyone that I could. And one thing that I said is, because someone was like, it's not that big of a deal, I said, just you wait until Twitch gets defaced. I don't think it was on the show. It might have been. I might have to go back and watch.
I don't think so.
But 3 days or so after I said that, of course, like no doubt in my mind, Twitch gets defaced with the thumbnail of certain games getting replaced with Jeff Bezos's meme face. It doesn't get better. It
You did say-
again.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
You did say that people would very quickly uncover vulnerabilities in the source
Right.
code and
Right.
would be able to execute on those faster than
Yeah.
Twitch would be able to fix them. So I think this falls in that category. I'll give you you get a point for that.
Thank you. Golden star to me. And I do think it's kind of insane how quickly they capitalized on it, because there's so much data in there and they
Oh, yeah.
instantly saw.
But you had the entire
Yeah.
internet working on it.
Yeah, exactly. Amazing.
It's a lot, though. It really is
It
a lot. I started having a look through it, and I think the reason I can't tell you more interesting things is because it's too much. I don't know where to
It is.
start.
Yeah.
I was having a look through the Curse Forge backend because I use World of Warcraft and add-ons from that site, and I was curious how it works. I don't like those guys, by the way. I don't like Curse, just for the record.
Mm.
I hope that doesn't ruin any future relationships I might have with them. But hey, they were kind of there were lots of different WoW add-on sites, World of Warcraft add-on sites at the beginning, and Curse kind of like sucked them all up and just took them all over, and yeah, the business practices weren't great. Anyway,
CurseForge
I
has
did-
jumped a few owners now, I believe, right?
yeah,
Isn't it?
I-
Didn't it go from whoever to Twitch to Overwolf is the latest owner?
yes,
I'm pretty sure.
Overwolf. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we are going so far away from privacy and security that I really think
yeah.
I've
Now
got
we're going into video games.
Well, the
Yeah,
other thing that I
um,
thought was interesting, and they might have said this last time too, but they reiterated it in their official statement now, that they blamed this on a server that was misconfigured that may have exposed some information to the internet. Yeah, like all of it.
I read that it was
Maybe.
I read that it was a misconfigured switch, small tomato, but
Yeah.
still, like, right. Like a
One
little
article
bit of
said, I
data,
think this article
possibly.
said Switch, and then I read about it someplace else that said it was
Yeah,
a server, but
server.
yeah. But they
Tomato,
really,
tomato,
they said the part that really stood out was that exposed some information to the internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, just like your comment about this is incrementally worse. It's technically true. It's just
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
Mm,
It's a
I
matter
Part
guess,
of this, all of the source codes includes all parts of the source code.
well, right.
yeah. It is parted, actually. Really, it is in parts, like divided into
That's right.
little repos for us to look. So technically
Ugh.
speaking, they're not telling lies, you know.
Yeah.
It did
Imagine.
lead to an interesting conversation with my son, who's super into role playing games, because we saw that Critical Role,
Yep.
Dungeons and Dragons podcast. What's this game called? I've never heard of it before. I think it's
Just say
something new that the kids are
D&D.
playing.
Everyone knows what D&D is. You don't
Do
have
they?
to.
Well, so this was the core of the argument. I said initially I was shocked that this RPG podcast or stream was getting $10 million over 2 years, the number one revenue earner on the platform. But then I thought, well, there's generations of fans. And we were debating whether, in terms of net popularity, D&D was more popular than some of the more modern games. And since he's not here to defend himself, I will declare victory. However, he did have some good arguments.
I wouldn't say
This
that
is your
D&D
kid we're talking about.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't think D&D
you're waiting. Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. My bad.
You're waiting until he's out of the room before you kind of
Right.
secretly stick it and go, hey,
Right.
yeah, want to get to my
Yeah.
kid.
No, he totally agreed that I was right.
Oh yeah,
Uh-huh.
of course.
Okay.
No,
right.
he did
That's
not
very
agree that I
true.
was
So,
right.
yeah.
So, what were you saying, John? Sorry, I interrupted.
I also I disagree that D&D is the most. I don't think it's the most popular game. Why I was having this conversation with a couple of friends. Why we think, well, why they are so well paid is one, these are all professional voice actors
Yeah.
in the cast of Critical Role. And two, when we look at revenue, we have to remember that, so like, okay, so all those voice actors obviously have their own fans to come and watch their show every week and subscribe. But the real thing here is this is just Twitch payouts. A lot of other content creators on Twitch, they are donation based or Patreon based or whatever other forms of revenue instead of Twitch subscriptions and bits or whatever. So I think Critical Role, sure, is the most paid in terms of subs, but I imagine that there are some content creators out there that are making way more through donations.
And this doesn't
just
include
not registered.
exclusivity agreements or anything like that
Exactly.
outside sponsorship.
Sponsorships,
So yeah, that's
right.
entirely possible. I guess what I
Yeah.
was thinking was that it's not as commercially popular or successful as some of the games that are out. Call of Duty. What's the one where you built? I'm not even gonna ask the question.
Fortnite.
Minecraft.
Yes, Fortnite is what I was thinking of. Couldn't remember the name
Fortnite.
because whatever.
League of Legends.
Yeah.
There's some big names
Jesus.
Right.
out
So
there.
clear. I'm not a gamer. It's fine.
Yeah,
Whatever.
we
I'm
can
not
tell,
sensitive
Mike.
about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. Let it go. It's fine.
Okay, Mike. All right.
We
So
can
my
move
line
on,
of-
Mike. We don't need to stay on this subject anymore. Like,
Mike
we don't need
wants
to
to
bring
talk
up
about
Twitch
We're
next
going to the
week.
next story.
Let Mike talk about his games. You know what he gets.
No. Just that they've accumulated such a fan base over decades.
Mhm.
I suspect that there's a huge below the surface fan base that you maybe don't have with some of the other modern video games.
Well, yeah, it's funny because the D&D category on Twitch skyrockets every Thursday night and then goes back down to like top 100 somewhere down there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Just
one of
like
those weird
clockwork.
things. I don't think it's necessarily about the actual topic as well. I mean, D&D is great, and it does definitely have this whole kind of history behind it. But I think
Yeah.
it's like the Great British Bake Off. You know, baking. I never thought that would be a
Right.
massive show, but
No.
it's brilliant. I love it.
90 Day
It's-
Fiance is another example of this, where like
Yeah.
who cares about dating shows, and then this show
I know.
just takes the world by storm. So yeah, you're
it's-
right.
It's the format and the structure and a little bit of magic sprinkled
Right.
in there.
Yeah.
And it's the not only D&D show, but there's far less dilution than you might see with some of the other more popular games.
Well, they pretty much hold a monopoly, right? Critical
Yeah.
Role on terms of Twitch, they definitely hold a full-blown monopoly over this category. You go into that channel any day of the week into the D&D category, I mean, there's like nothing, you
Yeah,
know. And that's just how it is. But yeah, that's enough
You know-
gamer talk.
We're not very privacy and security focused today.
Not today.
Guys.
I know.
No.
think
'Cause-
this is-
okay.
this is-
Passwords.
Yeah,
Usernames.
Twitch email, all user emails and passwords were leaked. Blah blah blah.
Blah blah blah.
Blah, 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 blah.
Not important. Moving on. Ooh.
Yep.
Uh,
Guys.
All right, did we